flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Like
of the United States of
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And will the recorder please call roll?
Counselor Bolin, Counselor Reeskamp,
Here.
Counselor Dykstra,
Here.
Counselor Nassar,
Here.
Counselor Grizzle, Counselor Steinhebel,
Here, sorry.
and Mayor Aziz is absent.
All right, we have the consent calendar. This week we just had the city council agenda for today. Entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent calendar is approved. Public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No. Your Honor.
Okay. We'll move into the regular session, and we have the early work amendment to the West Side Intercept project presented by Ron Whitlatch.
Thank you, City Council. Mic's on. Is it on? If it's red, there we go. So both agenda items today kind of go hand in hand. So we're going to start with the early work amendment to the West Side Interceptor project. Back on April 14th, City Council awarded the contract to Emery & Sons, the pre-construction phase services, and with likely amendments to that going through. One of the things we've worked through is we've got a preliminary GMP, guaranteed maximum price, of about $21 million. It's right in that ballpark, was the pipe costs. You can see in the report that I've put in front of you that pipe costs have exploded in terms of dollars. A lot of that has to do with resin plants in Texas. A lot of it has to do with just the amount of construction that's going on in the economy out there. So one of the things we want to do is, and this was a recommendation by Emery & Sons, and we agree with it, is to do an early work amendment to procure the large diameter pipe right now. And that would be added to the guaranteed maximum price, at which time we bring that back to council, which is likely going to be July. One other thing to note here, this is not Clean Water Revolving Fund loan eligible to do this, mostly because we have not been awarded the project and given notice to proceed. We're still going through a few environmental things. Last thing would be our DSL permit, which is going to be issued. In fact, I talked to them just yesterday, and they're going to expedite that if they can. And then we have to go through another 30-day DEQ review before they will issue notice to proceed on the $14 million of loan money. So, yeah, long story short, we have money in sewer SDCs that we've put away for this project, and so we can fund the pipe procurement portion. I would expect that we won't see all this money being used right now anyway. This is just to kind of lock in the price and move towards not seeing any more inflation to the pipe costs. So with that, I'm available to answer any questions, but we're proposing or actually recommending that council award the work amendment.
Wayne, you have a question?
How about the labor costs? Is that escalating as well?
No, so labor's set by Davis Bacon.
Yeah, okay.
So we won't see that change once we start potholing, and there's some potholing work in here. That'll be the true construction start, and that's when the Davis Bacon wages will be set for this.
It's kind of a crapshoot, right? I mean, I've seen that prices could stabilize and then come back down because it's been such a dramatic thing. So we lock in basically the prices on the pipes and get that done now. I mean, but it's possible that it just continues on this upward spiral that we're on.
Well, if you think of it in these terms, so with the resin issue that we have now, and then we've got a whole bunch of federal money that's been infused into the economy that's for water and sewer
Yeah.
projects. We looked at that and we went, it's the
not gonna
demand is
slow down.
It's not going to slow down. And if it does, you know, I don't think it's going to drop down substantially unless the economy just completely tanked. And in which case, you know, yeah, this is the gamble, but
Yeah,
I think it's probably warranted.
it's probably the smarter bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't seem like construction materials are going down anytime soon either. Things are just ridiculous right now.
Agreed.
Wood might be coming down a little bit.
Any other questions for staff?
Would you, just for edification purposes, explain what the alternate backfills mean?
So as you, so we're looking at alternate backfills. So when you dig up the trench for the pipe, normally we would spec out a 3/4 inch or 1 inch minus aggregate spec rock that meets ODOT specifications. In this case, like when we're in an open field and whatnot, we've set the project up to do that. But we're looking at, hey, we can use native material here if it's suitable, if it's not soupy. So we could use native backfill on that and just cap it, because you're not going to build any roads over it in the interim. So you're looking at maybe 3, 5, 10 years before a road gets built. So it's basically in situ, it's settled out. You don't have to worry about it filling under a roadway. If you use the screened aggregate, I'll call it, it doesn't meet specification. It's kind of there's a small window where you can use it. You don't want to use it if it's too dry, and you don't want to use it if it's too wet. So those will be calls that we'll make as we're on the ground. So there's a substantial savings if we can use it, but it'll be based on what the conditions are when we're there. So that's why we left the project whole. We didn't say, okay, yeah, we're going to use this, because we don't know if we can. But we'll do our best to use the alternate products as we can.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions for staff? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve award GMP early work amendment number 1.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to award the early work amendment to the West Side Interceptor project. All those in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. And item number 2 is going to be use of American Rescue Plan Act funds from Nancy Brewer.
Thank you all. Is this on? Okay. Looking for a red light somewhere. This is, as Ron said, a companion piece. As we have talked about the West Side Interceptor being dangerously close to actually doing construction, which I do believe puts us in a very fortunate place in terms of all of the infrastructure projects coming through, in that we have shovel ready. All we need are a couple of final permits, final pricing, and then we can start work on this long awaited project. What we've looked at as staff and the ARPA money is how we can best use that to benefit everyone in Lebanon. And one of the things that we've looked at in borrowing $14 million from the state to do this project is the likelihood that several years out of the next 5-7 years, we would have to do sewer rate increases at 5% or more. We're trying to keep those sewer rate increases to 2% annual. Using some ARPA money will let us do that in our financial projections. We're able to maintain that 2% level through the next 8 years. And it looks like we would be stable beyond that point. We know there will be other issues. There are going to be permitting issues and wastewater treatment plant, master plan issues. But from what we can see today, we feel like this is a good use of $3 million of ARPA funds. These are, for the purposes of this project, the least restrictive funds and would therefore be considered kind of a last in. So if Ron can get some significant savings in some aspects of the project, for example, as we move forward, we may not use that full $3 million. We have until December 2024 to commit it. We don't even have to spend it all, but we have to know what we're going to spend it on. And so we could rope that money back in the future if we didn't need it.
Yeah.
And use it for other projects. But for right now, as we go forward, the need to commit money becomes important for us to get council agreement that this is a good use of $3 million of ARPA funds. We still have $475,000 we are not touching with this and don't expect to need for this project. We are still waiting for final guidance from Treasury. We have preliminary guidance. But there are some questions still out there that we're waiting to see. And so at some point in the future, we would expect to come to council with concepts about what to do with the balance of these resources. But looking for your agreement that this is a good use of up to $3 million so we can move forward with the total project and basically take West Side Interceptor to Crowfoot is the plan at the present time.
I
Yeah.
could see councils 10 and 20 years from now being glad that we made this step. I mean, I think it's a responsible thing to do, to hold the line on rate increases. And I don't even know how long we've talked about West Side Interceptor, 500 years, something like that. If we need it. I think it's a brilliant use of the funds.
No, I agree. And if we can maintain that 2% for 8 years, that's nice forecasting.
It is nice forecasting. Matt's been doing a really good job with that. So that's the goal. That's the goal.
You know, and if we don't have to use all of that money towards that by saving in other areas, then we've got another place to spend some money.
That's
I'll
correct.
use
We
it.
certainly have significant infrastructure needs for pipes in the ground for both sewer, the small sewer lines, laterals, and for water. Some water main issues, some piping issues that need to be addressed. Those are both going to be on the staff list of potential uses of additional ARPA money. But we also have a lot of other ideas about things that could be done that would be beneficial to people of Lebanon. And we really want to make sure that that's where this resource is going, is to the people in town.
I think this is great. I think it's a good use of the funds. It seems to benefit the most of our residents, while and those residents in the future too, by holding those rates lower. So I'm in favor of this.
I agree as well. That's the time to do it.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Education purposes for people that are listening and that might be listening later, could you define SDC and SRF?
Sure. You want to do it? So SDCs are system development charges that are paid by developers when they come into the system that are designated for expanded capacity in the related infrastructure system that is necessary because that development is putting more demand on that infrastructure system. SRF are state revolving fund monies. ARPA monies for infrastructure have to be spent on SRF or CWRF, Clean Water Revolving Fund monies. And because we have the SRF loan basically approved with the exception of the final permitting, we know that this project is ARPA, which is American Rescue Plan Act monies, is going to be eligible and meet all of the definitions that have come out both in the language of the bill Congress passed and in the Treasury guidance to date.
Thank you. Of course, it's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Well, of course, because I'm wordy.
I want to tell you that I knew that.
No, I almost clapped at your SDC definition. That was very well done. I was almost like, yes.
So one last clarification again for those listening, listening later. This use of funds is recommended so that we can help, so we can keep future taxes down. Could you just clarify that one more time so that?
That is correct. Use of this money will help us keep our annual rate increases for sewer fees lower.
Perfect. I would just want to say that out loud because we just took an increase and I want everyone to know how hard our city staff works and how excellent you guys are doing what you do to help keep taxes down and that we're just not willy-nilly spending money. It's quite contrary. You guys do a fantastic job of trying to figure out how to save the city money and how to save taxpayers money. And I commend you on everything that you guys do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no further questions, we can entertain a motion.
So moved to recommend the council authorize up to $3 million of ARPA monies for the West Side Interceptor project.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to use the American Rescue Plan Act funds. All those in favor, say aye.
aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any items from council? Hearing none, do we have any public or press comments? Hearing none, our next scheduled meeting is June 9th at 6 p.m. Should be a regular electronic session. And with that, we will adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.